Bicycle, bicycle. I want to ride my bicycle, bicycle, bicycle. I want to ride my bicycle. I want to ride my bike.
Welcome to In Pursuit of Truth. This is your host, Sir Patrick Mack. We have some intriguing new Q posts for you, and we are going to get right to them. Keep in mind, I always read through these one time first, so if you want to skip right through to the analysis, just click on the timestamp below, and a wormhole will open up, suck you into it, and spit you out right in the precise, exact moment in time that you need to be there. So, let's begin. 5:18 a.m. we have this picture of a Google bike, and Q says, access kills. POTUS in good spirits today. Morning strolls are refreshing. 2.5 hours. Q. 5:19 a.m. we have this picture of what looks to be a Google Pass, like a guest pass. And then we see it again confirmed by Q here. Now, I want you to understand that this was posted from an anonymous using the same this picture, and this picture were all posted from an Anon, and it looks like this, but you can see that they are all using the same ID number as Q. 5:33 a.m. we have in response to an anonymous. So what happens in 2.5 hours? Q says, think meeting yesterday. Q. 5:43 a.m. responding to an Anon who says, access kills. Gmail drafts. Q says, what came out in IG report? JC Gmail. They all had them. Reread drops regarding private emails regarding convicting Hillary Rodham Clinton, convicting themselves. Why did the entire Hussein admin use private emails? ES is key. What a wonderful day. Q. 5:45 a.m. responding to an Anon. Another Q proof. Takes us to a Twitter link. Image of POTUS taking a morning stroll. Q says, we do try. Have a wonderful weekend. Trust in your president. Q. 2 minutes after the hour of 6 a.m., I've gotten response to an Anon. Q's post about a morning stroll came out after the president's tweet. How is it a proof? Q says, check timestamp. 18 stroll. 32 POTUS. 5 Q. 5 minutes after the hour of 6 a.m. in response to an anonymous that says, Q. I know confirming the Q proofs is going to be tough and will also flood the bread. We need some type of guidance. What should we have ready? I know you work for us, USA, but we Anons work for you. Tell us what needs to be ready. FF. Q says, we'll inspect/review. Marine 1 proofs forthcoming. AF1 inside thereafter. More and more. Q. 6 minutes after the hour of 7 a.m., we have a Drudge Report headline, Manafort behind bars, President rips FBI scum. Integrity, devotion, loyalty. Will POTUS and Q allow Manafort to suffer the wrath of the cabal for helping POTUS and the good guys? Q says, plants need water. 16 minutes after the hour of 7 a.m., we've got a couple of pictures here. Looks like Barack Obama with a friend, a very close friend. And even closer picture of the friend. This Pakistani got plugged in the booty by Hussein in college. Q says, have you identified other person? Search Hussein admin. No facial hair. Obtain name. Cross FBI security clearance? No. Why? Origin? Q. 28 minutes after the hour of 7. An Anon says, have you identified other person? Adding on to this. Q says, why are Hussein records sealed? Unusual. Why did 42 Hussein admin staff obtain FBI bypass? No background check. IT scandal Awan. Access to classified emails / summary security meeting notes, briefings, etc. with no FBI background check or clearance. Purpose? Packy leak. MB infiltration. IG report on Hillary Rodham Clinton email handling means little. Keep your eyes on the ball. POTUS is not going through this for nothing. Watch the vid again if you need clarity. Speech that will get POTUS elected. There is so much evil and corruption, it's horrifying. We owe it to our children. Q. 34 minutes past the hour of 7, we have an anonymous who prints out a list of the Obama administration. I won't read all the names. Actually, I'll just read the names instead of their posts. We have Michelle Obama, Joseph Biden, John F. Kerry, Hillary Rodham Clinton, Ashton B. Carter, Leon Panetta, Robert Gates, Chuck Hagel, Ken Salazar, Sally Jewell, Loretta Lynch, Eric Holder, Jack Lew, Timothy Geithner, Kathleen Sebelius, Sylvia Matthews Burwell, Thomas Perez, Hilda Solis, Penny Pritzker, John Bryson, Gary Locke, Tom Vilsack, John King, Arne Duncan, Ernest Moniz, Stephen Chu, Jay Johnson, Janet Napolitano, Sean Donovan, Julian Castro, Anthony Fox, Ray LaHood, Robert A. McDonald, Aaron Shinseki. Q says, search foreign posts, state, face, important, Q. And 45 minutes past the hour of 7 a.m. Adding on to this post, Q says, note CF Clinton Foundation children drop in IG report. Important. Official doc statement. The beginning. Not all are awake. Q. Some new posts coming in. 12:02. This is a post from January 19th. Hussein cabinet staff who used private email addresses. What was the purpose? LL, HRC, JC, JC, CSAM. We don't say his name. RR, SR, JB, HA, VJ. Did Hussein use a private email address? At what? Who just resigned from Google? Why was ES in North Korea? That's twice. What private network did ES set up in North Korea? That's also twice. Who also was in North Korea during this time? What private email address did Hussein use while in office? Why would the chairman of Google travel to North Korea? Why would North Korea allow access to ES? Nothing is ever truly erased, deleted. These people are stupid. D-class, POTUS. The shot heard around the world, Q. And Q adds on, future proves past. News unlocks, Q. 9 minutes after the hour of 12, we get this graphic from an Anon talking about the information on the Gmail comms and a couple posts relative to April, and says this, Q, we have it all. Huber, Q says news unlocks. 50 minutes past the hour of 12, we have this graphic from an Anon. These reporters and networks have been named in the WikiLeaks to have colluded with the DNC or Hillary campaign during the 2016 election cycle. And then it goes on to name quite a few names from ABC, AP, Bloomberg, CBS, CNN, CNNBC, Daily Beast, GPG, HuffPo, LA Times, McClatchy, Moore, MSNBC, National Journal, NBC, New Yorker, NPR, New York Post, New York Times, PBS, People, Politico, Reuters, Tina Brown, The Hill, Univision, Vice, Vox, WAPO, WSJ, Wall Street Journal, Yahoo, The Bridge, Podesta Group, Bridge Between Media, FBI, DOJ, HRC. Why did the Podesta Group close? Public charges? No. Why close? When did Huber start? November. JP, Huma, November. Sealed. Do they know? Why did the Podesta Group close? Why no leaks? Who else knows? HRC deal request. Why? IG, Huber. Can IG disclose evidence in pending criminal cases in public disclosure reports? Why not? Grand jury taint, bias. Everyone has an opinion. Clickbait. Q. And Q is pouring it on. 1:31 p.m. Adding on to that, all the way down here, Q adds, JP Human November. Hubert recent reveal by Sessions. November start. HRC panic / deal required. December. Think Huber. Coincidence. You have more than you know. News unlocks past. Map. Q. 1:37 p.m. Responding to an Anon who says, read last post. Huber started in November. What else was slated to happen in November? 11:3 Podesta indicted. 11:6 Huma indicted. Do they know? Q says, IG started long before Huber setting stage. Important note. Think. IG equals FBI. Huber equals DOJ. No DC. Why are we emphasizing this given the world is watching? Strategic, or they already know, hence CEO / political mass resignations. Adding up, logical, careful of clickbait. Q. 1:42 p.m. An Anon says, to all those not getting. 11:3 when Huber made a sealed indictment. 11:6 when Huber made a sealed indictment. Q says, well done, Anon shows commitment. Q. And 1:50 p.m. Responding to an Anon who says, Q, thank you for your service to our great country. You have restored true hope in the hearts of many patriots. God is with you and all of us. Q says, no one person is above another. We are in this together. Where we go one, we go all. Q. Okay, let's start back at the beginning here. Now, this is 5:18 a.m. We're going to talk about the time a little bit, but for me, it was 5:18 a.m. when this would have popped up. And we have a couple pictures here. We have a picture of this bike and this Google Guest Pass, which is this right here. There's the bike. And there is the what looks to be a little lanyard guest pass kind of thing. We shall see. Q says, access kills. POTUS in good spirits today. Morning strolls are refreshing. 2.5 hours. Q. Okay. Well, the 2.5 hours, I'm assuming, is referring to Rod Rosenstein. This is from teaparty.org as of the Gateway Pundit. Inspector General Michael Horowitz released his much-anticipated review on FBI and DOJ actions during the Hillary Clinton email investigation. Trump-hating FBI agent Peter Strzok sent his mistress a text message saying, "We'll stop Trump from becoming president." This text message from Strzok was sent to Page 9 days after Crossfire Hurricane was open and 6 days before the insurance policy text. Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, who signed one of the bogus FISA applications to spy on Donald Trump, met with White House officials Thursday preceding the report's release. Attorney General Jeff Sessions recused himself from the sham investigation the day after he was sworn into office. He has been absent as deep state radicals continue to attack this Republican president. Rod Rosenstein was spotted leaving the White House after 2 hours and 25 minutes. So that's about 2.5 hours right there. And it looks like they met with Rod Rowe met with the president at the White House. And maybe the president now is taking a morning refreshing stroll. I'm assuming that Rod Rosenstein had some answering to do, had some splaining to do, considering that we were wanting the Whopper with cheese. Remember, we wanted the whole report, and we didn't get that. We got the DJ Rod Rowe remix, and we don't want that. That sucks. So, could the 2.5 hour meeting been maybe discussing President Trump asking Rod Rosenstein to recuse himself, resign, or be impeached, or be removed? We will see what actually transpires from all that. But I would imagine if Q is mentioning it, it's probably going to be relevant later. But that sounds to me like the 2.5 hours. Now, we go on to these pictures here, and I think these Google pictures sound to me like maybe a veiled reference to what we saw in the IG report. Of course, the Gmail activity going on. And we know that James Comey and everybody seemed to have a some sort of Gmail access going on. And if you remember, this was essentially these Gmail draft emails. And for those people who are new, I'm going to explain it again. Think of it this way: I open myself an email. Okay, it's called knucklehead1@gmail.com, and all the people listening to this video right now have the password. And so I'm going to type a message in there, as if I were going to send an email, but I never click send. It's just left there as a draft. And then you log in with that same password. We all have the same password, and you can see the email just in the draft section. It never gets sent. Okay, so I think we all kind of get that understanding. That was what we're talking about there. And we know that was how it was done. And obviously, we still have all the information anyway. Now, like I said earlier, these pictures were they were posted by an Anon, and then we see this picture again, and we see right here where Q basically just recognizes it as being Q, and it was the same ID, which I'll show you right here. If you'll notice, here's the ID code for each post, and then you can see down below the same ID post as Q. Okay, so moving on here to this post at 5:33. Anon says, what happens in 2.5 hours? Q says, think meeting yesterday. And of course, that sounds like the Rod Rosenstein meeting. Now, the Anon talking about the Gmail draft says, access kills Gmail drafts. Q says, what came out in IG report? Well, like we just talked about, the James Comey Gmail, they had all of them. And we've seen this for a while now, that Q has said we have them all. Q says, reread the drops regarding private emails regarding convicting Hillary Rodham Clinton, convicting themselves. Why did the entire Hussein admin use private emails? Eric Schmidt is key. What a wonderful day. And of course, Eric Schmidt is key because Eric Schmidt is Google, and it was Google Gmail that everybody was using, just like we said. And everything that was on there regarding these private emails, regarding convicting Hillary Clinton, it's all going to be there on those emails, the unredacted. And now it looks like President Trump is putting the screws to Rod Rosenstein to say, look, this is what's going on. We've got it all. It's your choice. But either way, you're going to have to get out of the way. And Q says, what a wonderful day. And in these pictures, it looks like it's a wonderful day. It looks like somebody is on the Google campus, and it looks like it's a beautiful day in regards to these pictures here. And, I don't know if they have these Google bikes outside of the Google campus, but I know that they do have them on the campus in Mountain View, California. So it looks like somebody on the Q team is probably dealing with some googly stuff, but it looks like a beautiful day. And you know who else used to like to ride their bike was one Seth Rich. As a matter of fact, they dedicated a bike rack to Mr. Rich, which I think is kind of cute. So it could be a reference there as well, too. And, of course, we're smack dab in the middle of June now. And June was the ETA for Mr. Rich. And hopefully we can keep on schedule with that, because I know we would all like to start getting that out, because we know that that's going to be the flood. And it looks like in these upcoming Q posts, it just seems to be dealing with the very things that will be leading up to Seth Rich. So what a wonderful day indeed. Speaking of wonderful days, Joseph Flynn tweets this: road trip today with @General Flynn, always moving forward, never backward. Beautiful day. Have a great weekend, everyone. God bless. All right, so have a great weekend, guys, and let's move on. Well, Q seems to be in a good mood and responds to an Anon here at 5:43 a.m. who says, another Q proof posts a Twitter link to Donald Trump, image of POTUS taking a morning stroll. Q says, we do try. Have a wonderful weekend. Trust in your president. And we see this post right here, 6:32 p.m. Great discussions with European Union Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker and EU Council President Donald Tusk at the G7 summit in Canada last week. And as you can see, that's at 6:32 p.m. And if we look back to this googly bike post, we see that it is from 6:18. Let's go back and move on to the next post, which comes in at 6:02 a.m. And Anon says, Q's post about a morning stroll came out after the president's tweet. How is it a proof? Q says, check timestamp at 18 stroll 32 POTUS. And what they're talking about is, like I said here, 6:18, and then President Trump's tweet comes in at 6:32. And then Q says 5-5, which I'm assuming means loud and clear. You get what I'm saying? Do you dig? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Q. Next post comes in at 5 minutes after the hour of 6 a.m. And Anon says, Q, I know confirming the Q proofs is going to be tough and will also flood the bread. We need some type of guidance. What should we have ready? I know you work for us, USA, but we, Anons, work for you. Tell us what needs to be ready. FF. And then Q says, we'll inspect, review. Marine One proofs forthcoming. Air Force One inside, thereafter, more and more. So it looks like we're going to start building some Q proofs. Q is probably going to start giving us more directions. And for those who are really good at making memes and graphs and charts and things like that, it looks like Q will probably be giving us some more express direction. But we can see that that is another Q proof. And Q proofs seem to be more and more common as of late, especially considering the growing audience. Welcome to all you new viewers, by the way. And it looks like we're going to get some Marine One proofs forthcoming, as well as Air Force One inside thereafter. So it looks to me like Q is getting us closer and closer and closer, so that the proofs can look more and more obviously credible for everybody, and they're getting harder and harder to disprove. So very exciting. Q says more and more. Let's move on here. Now we're talking about Manafort. 13 minutes past the hour of 7, and Anon posts this: Manafort behind bars. President rips FBI scum. Drudge report. Integrity, devotion, loyalty. Will POTUS and Q allow Manafort to suffer the wrath of the cabal for helping POTUS and the good guys? Q says plants need water. Okay, well, Q has told us before that Manafort is a plant and that Carter Page was a plant. And we know that. And plants do need water. They also need sunlight and chlorophyll. I don't think Manafort needs chlorophyll. But Bloomberg is reporting Manafort's heading to jail after judge faults witness tampering. This is from June 15th. Paul Manafort was sent to jail Friday by a federal judge who said she couldn't turn a blind eye to claims that he attempted to tamper with witnesses, adding pressure on President Donald Trump's former campaign manager to cooperate with a U.S. probe of Russian election meddling. U.S. authorities immediately took Manafort into custody and escorted him out of a packed courtroom with his wife looking on. The dramatic turn means that Manafort will have to prepare for 2 federal trials in the coming weeks, one in Washington and one in Virginia while confined to a jail cell. U.S. District Judge Amy Berman Jackson in Washington revoked Manafort's bail, saying she had no choice but to lock him up because she couldn't stop him from contacting people. "This is not middle school," Jackson said to the lawyers. "I can't take his cell phone." It's the latest sign of Trump's deepening legal challenges. Jailing Manafort gives special counsel Robert Mueller more leverage as Manafort weighs whether to cooperate and spill any secret he knows about Trump and the campaign. Confronting possible criminal charges in New York, Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, may have a similar choice ahead of him. And on Thursday, New York's Attorney General sued the president and members of his family, referring possible tax crimes at Trump's charitable foundation to the Internal Revenue Service. Trump has countered with increasingly forceful rhetoric in his attempts to discredit Mueller's probe and the FBI. He played down Manafort's importance during a Friday morning press conference on the front lawn of the White House. So now Manafort is running off, and of course he's not going to get any bail because you don't get any love. And Michael Cohen's got the same kind of problem. Seems like being Trump's lawyer is just a tough gig. Now, very strange about Manafort. As we know, Manafort was a plan. But how this is all going to play out remains to be seen. I don't really know that Manafort has much on Trump. But clearly, they want to go after this guy. And, of course, this is a big, big smear campaign, as well as the possible tax crimes on Trump. And so it remains to be seen how this is going to go out. But it kind of looks like this is just sort of tying up the legal system. But it does get weird with Manafort. We all know that, Manafort had relations with Stone. And Roger Stone, and then that, that brings you over to Alex Jones and InfoWars and that whole ball of wax. So intriguing stuff, but Manafort is off to jail with no bail. Yikes. Well, this is all really crazy. Let's just ask the president. President Trump, how do you feel about all this craziness?
Well, I feel badly about a lot of it because I think a lot of it's very unfair. I look at some of them where they go back 12 years. Like Manafort has nothing to do with our campaign.
Exactly.
But I feel I feel a little badly about it. They went back 12 years to get things that he did 12 years ago.
You weren't even president then.
Paul Manafort worked for me for a very short period of time.
Wow, like 49 days.
He worked for Bob Dole. He worked for John McCain, or his firm did. He worked for many other Republicans. He worked for me, for 49 days?
Yeah, that's
a very short period of time. I feel badly for some people because they've gone back 12 years to find things about somebody.
Who was president then? Can't even remember.
I don't think it's right. I don't think it's right that they burst into a lawyer's office on a weekend and early in the morning.
That's not cool either. And start a fire up in your tower.
Can you imagine if they burst into Barack Obama's lawyer's office?
Oh, yeah. People would get hung.
It would not be acceptable.
Yeah, it would be unacceptable.
That's really a terrible thing. Now, I feel badly for a lot of those people. I feel badly for General Flynn. He's lost his house.
Right.
He's lost his life.
I don't think
Some people say he lied.
I think he's
and
still
some
alive.
People say he didn't lie. I mean, really, it turned out maybe he didn't lie. But how can you do that?
And since we're talking about...
Who can you do that? Because who's lied more than Comey?
Exactly. Yeah, that guy lies like crazy.
And since we're talking about...
Look, I did nothing wrong. You have to understand, this stuff would have come out a long time ago. I did nothing wrong. I don't do anything wrong. It's really nice.
Is he still your friend?
I always liked Michael Cohen. I haven't spoken to Michael in a long time.
Is he still your lawyer?
No, he's not my lawyer, but
Your
anymore.
personal lawyer and not
But
your
I always liked Michael.
Are you?
And he's a good person.
Are you
And I
willing
think
to
he's been,
cooperate?
excuse me, do you mind if
God, dog, lady, let the man talk. Down in front.
I just want to know if you're worried if he's going to cooperate with federal.
No, I'm not worried because I did nothing wrong.
Got it.
Nothing wrong, okay?
Okay, well, other than little Miss Interrupty Pants trying to cramp my style, it was a pretty good interview, I guess. But we'll have to see what happens with Manafort, but it looks like he is off to jail. No bail for this guy. Wow, Harvey Weinstein gets bail, but Manafort doesn't get bail. All right. Well, we are moving on here, and we see these pictures here. We see a young Barry Soetoro with his friend. And then we see this picture, and we can see that they're close friends. And then we see a close picture of his friend's face. This guy. All right. And Q the Anon says, this Pakistani got plugged in the booty by Hussein in college. Well, that's none of my business. But Q says, have you identified other person? Search Hussein administration. No facial hair. Obtain name. Cross FBI security clearance. No. Wait. Cross FBI clearance. No. Do you want me to cross the clearance or no? Oh, I see. Probably no clearance. Why? Origin? Well, probably from Pakistan. Q. Okay. Well, it remains to be seen who exactly this is. And I want to give you a couple theories here because it's not as clear cut as I thought. But now, at first, you see this article here from The Guardian. This is back in 2012. And the caption here says, flatmates, Barack Obama and Sohala Siddiqui on the sofa in 1981. So now I've seen other articles saying that it was someone else as well. Now, this article is actually talking about his roommate, Pakistani Sal Makbul, and whom I could not find a current picture of. So if you've got one, please let us know. But I haven't seen that. So now, Sohala Siddiqui is right here. And I'm going to just read this right here. This is from an interview on Frontline. And it just says here, this was back in 2008. It says he met Obama at a New Year's Eve party in San Francisco while Obama was attending Occidental College, and the two men later became roommates in New York. I saw a transformation in the Barry I had met in Occidental. Siddiqui recalls about Obama's New York years. He got very serious and less lighthearted, and our conversations were more about serious things. Okay, so that's the one theory, and I'm going to put up a couple faces next to the face so we'll all be able to kind of compare. But that's the first guy. And again, like I said, I don't want to say anything about The Guardian. They were reporting it back then. I'm just not so sure that that's this guy. Now, there's some other people that are thinking about, this guy right here. This is Richard Verma, an American diplomat and the former United States ambassador to India from 2015 to 2017. Verma was previously nominated by President Barack Obama in 2009 to serve as the Assistant Secretary of State for Legislative Affairs at the U.S. Department of State, a position he held until March 2011. Verma currently serves as vice chairman of the Asia Group. And it says down here, in September 2014, Obama nominated Verma as the next U.S. ambassador to India. On December 4, 2014, the United States Senate Committee on Foreign Relations voted to forward Verma's nomination to the full Senate. On December 9, 2014, Verma was unanimously confirmed by the U.S. Senate. Verma presented his credentials to President Pranab Mukherjee at a ceremony in Rashtrapati Bhavan on January 16, 2015. And then it says later here that Verma stepped down from his post as ambassador on January 20th, 2017, following the inauguration of President Donald Trump. Okay, well, honestly, I don't know too much about this guy right now, but we'll take a look at his face here, and it could be. Here's the other picture. Okay, and again, I'm going to give you another comparison here. Now, this guy's a Pakistani, and I mean, of course, it's hard to say. I wanted to take you to this article as well. This is off of firstpost.com, and I just want to take you down about a couple paragraphs down. It says, Verma was raised in Western Pennsylvania and is the youngest of 5 kids, but he is no novice when it comes to working for the Obama government, and his relationship with Obama goes as far back as 2008, according to a Reuters report. He helped Obama in the 2008 elections on a presidential debate preparations. He was then an Assistant Secretary of State for Legislative Affairs at the State Department in the Obama administration from 2009 to 2011. Currently, he is senior counselor at Steptoe and Johnson Law Firm in the Albright Stonebridge Group. So I'm not really sure. He served as an officer in the U.S. Air Force, and he's won some honors and whatnot. I'm not really sure if this would be our guy. And then I want to show you this guy as well. This is Hussein Haqqani. Hussein Haqqani is a former ambassador of Pakistan to the United States from 2008 to 2011. He is currently Senior Fellow and Director for South and Central Asia at the Hudson Institute and co-edits the journal Current Trends in Islamist Ideology, published by Hudson Institute Center for Islam, Democracy, and Future of the Muslim World. Now we're talking. Okay, so I know this article says it's this guy. I'm not so sold that it's this guy. Okay, and although I'm not so sure I'm buying that it's this guy either. I'm not sure. There's a lot of real theories here, but I have a feeling it could be our Hussein Haqqani, obviously considering that he is talking about current trends in Islamist ideology. That would be where my little Scooby senses start acting up. And I want to show you something else. So here is a little graphic that I made for myself this morning so I could kind of compare and contrast. Now, the first thing to remember is that Q said no facial hair. And although the Guardian article does mention Sohail Siddiqui, at least this is the most current picture I could find of him, has a face full of facial hair. Q also is going to talk about regarding foreign posts. Now, that would be Hussein Haqqani and Richard Verma. So I think we can rule out Siddiqui, in my opinion. Now, as far as facial features go, when I look at Richard Verma, it looks like the cheekbones are too high and pronounced, whereas you see the young man, they are not. Also, there is a dimple and like a little cleft in the chin there that Hussein Haqqani share, and Verma does not. Also, the eyes are slightly downturned. The hairline is a little bit lower, whereas the hairline on Haqqani seems exact. The nose seems exact. The ears are going to grow with age. Your nose grows with age, but the shape is right there. The mouth is the same. And the eyebrows, although they look more manicured, it clearly looks like that would be our guy. So as far as Siddiqui goes, the eyes don't look the same. The nose doesn't look the same. The ears doesn't look the same. The hairline doesn't look the same, nor does the shape of the chin, although it's hard to tell with the facial hair. But that is my guess. I'm going with Haqqani. Let me know what you guys think, or if you have somebody else that you think this could be. Here's an article from the Daily Times, Pakistan. Karachi police register FIR against Hussein Haqqani. This was written back in March of 2018. Police on Wednesday registered an FIR against former ambassador to the United States, Hussein Haqqani, on charges of causing harm to the country's national security. The FIR was registered in Karachi's Preeti police station on a complaint filed by advocate Maulvi Iqbal Haider. The complaint alleged that the former envoy had made anti-state remarks during recent interviews with television channels in the U.S. The complainant held that Haqqani's statement undermined national security and challenged the country's sovereignty. Haqqani deliberately issued venomous remarks on Pakistan, its forces, and the Kashmir cause, read the FIR. Speaking to Daily Times, Maulvi Haider said that he had approached the police on March 7th. However, the police did not immediately register the case. I was in the high court when I heard Haqqani's remarks. Being a Pakistani citizen, I decided to register a case against him, he said. I have provided the police with evidence as the police initially refused to register the case. In February, the Federal Investigation Agency was considering registering a case against Haqqani. Additional Attorney General Waqar Rana had submitted before a Supreme Court 3-judge bench that the agency was considering to file FIR against Haqqani. In addition, the FIA had written to the Interpol requesting the issuance of red warrants, but the agency raised its concerns over the political nature of allegations against the former ambassador, which was beyond its mandate. Haqqani was implicated in the Memogate scandal, accusing him writing a memo to Admiral Mike Mullen through Mansour Ijaz. The memo had offered greater government cooperation in return for U.S. backing of the civilian government against the powerful military in the immediate aftermath of the May 2nd raid, which led to the capture and killing of Osama bin Laden. Interesting. So I'm not really sure if this could be our guy, but this was just something that I found. And interestingly enough, the author of this article was one Imran Awan. But it doesn't stop there with Haqqani. Back in 2010, off of the Dawn.com, Haqqani claims visas issued with GHQ approval. In a written reply, Pakistan's ambassador to the U.S., Hussein Haqqani, claimed that 82 visas were issued to the U.S. military personnel during January to December 2010, with prior approval from Joint Staff Headquarters. In his reply to a letter by the Joint Staff Headquarters over the issuance of visas to certain U.S. officials without security clearance, Pakistan's ambassador to the U.S., Hussein Haqqani, claimed that the visas in question were issued with the approval of the GHQ. Dawn News quoted from a report in a local newspaper as saying, The letter was referred to Mr. Haqqani by the Foreign Ministry. Moreover, Ambassador Haqqani in his response stated that some of the visas were issued on the recommendations of the defense attaché and naval attaché posted in Washington. He also added that many of the visas issued were for U.S. military officials who had to visit the country for meetings with Pakistani military officials. He said he was amused at the fact that the list also included the same of U.S. Chairman Joint Chief of Staff Admiral Mike Mullen. Mr. Haqqani also claimed that 82 visas were issued to U.S. military personnel during January to December 2010, with the prior approval of Joint Staff Headquarters. He also rejected the demand to revive the previously employed system for visa issuance. Okay, so he got some visas for some of his homeboys. And Q's saying here, cross FBI security clearance. Well, I don't know what kind of clearance this guy really had. I would assume he had some pretty good clearance, being an ambassador. But I'm not so sure he had the clearance to do that, to issue those visas. So, all these guys, the Awans, Haqqani, hiring their boys, bringing their boys, putting them in high-ranking positions with high security clearances, and yet they weren't able to pass the security clearances themselves. Why and where was their origin? Well, Pakistan, evidently. Now, Q goes on to add on here, why are Hussein's records sealed? Well, we all know, okay? Now, we know he's linked through Indonesia somewhere, Kenya somewhere. We're not exactly sure who his exact parents are, but we know this guy is probably going to, when we find out, we're going to figure out that this is an illegitimate president. Is it unusual? Yeah, it's highly unusual. And I think it's quite unusual that this fuddy lady goes out in the middle of the ocean. Only one to die in that crash. And she was the one who knew the truth about Barry Sotero's original birth certificate. And it's a tangled web. Why did 42 Hussein admin staff obtain FBI bypass, no background check? Because they wouldn't made the background check. They were no good. IT scandal, Juan, yeah, he facilitated. This knucklehead working for Debbie Wasserman Schultz and his brother, who couldn't even figure out how to use a soft serve ice cream machine at McDonald's, gets fired from there. Hey, no problem. Debbie Wasserman Schultz got a gig for you. She's got a bunch of gigs for you. Gigabytes. She's got gigabytes for you. You can come in. It's like inviting a frat boy to your party. Seems all cool, but then he invites all his friends. Next thing you know, you wake up and you got all these beer bottle caps stuck on your ceiling. That's not cool. They came in, they messed everything up. They got access to classified emails, summary security meeting notes, briefing, etc. with no FBI background check or clearance. And a lot of the good FBI agents were complaining about it. And all this information, where was it going? The purpose? Pakistani leak? Yeah, you bet. Muslim Brotherhood infiltration. They were calling all their boys, grabbing all the info, leaking all the intel, infesting the system with their malware, using all their little Google comms, thinking they were all slick, like a bunch of ninjas. The IG report on HRC email handling means very little. Yeah, this is the handling that meant so much. Hillary Clinton's done her own stuff, but it wasn't so much the emails that we're really worried about with her. It's all the other stuff we're worried about with her. Keep your eyes on the ball. POTUS is not going through this for nothing. Yeah, no, look, the POTUS has got, you got a missile shot at him. I mean, how many times has that happened to you? I don't think it's ever happened to me. And then Q says, watch the video again if you need clarity. And it's the video that says, this will get Trump elected. I actually tried to download it for you. I was going to put it at the end of the video. Wasn't able to download it for some weird reason. There is so much evil and corruption. It's horrifying. We owe it to our children. We certainly do. It is an evil, evil world, and we are doing our best to sort it out. And every day that this goes by, it's easy to understand why people lose patience. After all, our children are being stolen from us, sold from us. Our country was sold from us, and they were going to infiltrate us, try and kill us all, and turn us against each other. And that's not going to happen anymore. We're moving on. Now, this is 34 minutes after the hour of 7. I'm not going to read all of these names because I don't believe they were ended up being the right ones. Q says, search foreign posts, state, face important, Q. at least till now, I'm sticking with this Haqqani fellow. He seems like the most appropriate guy that I can find, at least for my research today. Let me know what you guys think if you find somebody else, and we'll turn the light on them and start exposing these creeps. But for now, I think that would be the guy that I am, at least if I was to wager a college guess, that would be it. All right. Moving on. The next post, 45 minutes after the hour of 7. Q says, note, Clinton Foundation children drop an IG report. Important. Official doc statement. The beginning. Not all are awake. The Clinton Foundation was mentioned in the IG report very briefly, but a couple times, once related to the Anthony Weiner emails, of course. And that's going to be really, really important. There's clearly some evidence there. Now, whether or not, how much we'll ever see, we don't really know. But we're getting pretty impatient. We're ready to start seeing this move. But keep in mind, not all are awake, and we've got to get them awake. It is, it's time to move. It's time to do everything that we can. And a lot of us have already done so much. But the fact of the matter is, this is just starting to enter the mainstream. Once it starts to hit mainstream news, regardless of how you feel about MSM, it's important that stuff gets out there. There's still a bigger mouthpiece than a lot of us are, and that'll be just the beginning. Q said the other day, it's just the tip. And there's the official doc statement. Keep in mind, we've got Horowitz on the 18th. He'll be giving his testimony. And hopefully that will give us a lot more insight, and hopefully hearing his words will open a lot of people's eyes. It remains to be seen. I still think we've got a very, very corrupt system, but we've got to get started somewhere. So there we go. Move on. Now, this next post here, 2 minutes after the hour of 12, this is referring back to a post from January 19th, and these were 13 people: Loretta Lynch, Hillary Clinton, James Clapper, James Comey, Chuck Schumer, Andrew McCain, Rod Rosenstein, Susan Rice, John Brennan, Huma Abedin, Valerie Jarrett, Barack Obama. Did he use a private email address? Yeah, I remember the Bo-Obama at Ameritech.net. And then, of course, they're talking about Google. Eric Schmidt, we talked about him the other day, setting up those special access programs for all these people, having access to things they weren't supposed to have access to. Ended up even going up as far as NASA. Who knows if it were above or not? Who knows? But we see the decline of NASA shortly after, and we see all this money getting pumped into SpaceX. And of course, SpaceX is invested by Facebook and Suha Rizvi Travers, which is Twitter. It's a mess. They were all using these private emails, these Google emails, and it was all being facilitated by Eric Schmidt. And all those secrets were getting sold off. North Korea, China, whoever wanted to pay for them. Well, Q says nothing's ever truly erased or deleted. These people are stupid. And when the D-class comes, the shot will be heard around the world. And hopefully that will be the unredacted report that we need to demand. Q says future proves past, news unlocked. So we need to keep watching the news, I suppose. And of course, I think we've all been pretty glued to the news lately. Now, moving on here, 9 minutes after 12. We get this graphic here. Let me just take you here. I'll see if I can blow it up a little bit. There we go. Now, these are all posts from April. And they were talking about here, you can see the pointing out to that we have it all. The right people have the information. And this is talking about the Gmail comms. The Gmail comms we were talking about earlier. Okay. And this post from April 26th, again, the precursor. Some top eyes on first are calling for immediate arrest. Well, we had a couple immediate arrests, nothing big. Reveal, Gmail, draft comms. And we got the softball version of that, but we haven't really gotten what we really want to see. And that's because Rod Rowe is standing in the way. We've got to get rid of Rod Rosenstein. This Anon says this, Q. We have it all. Huber, Q says news unlocked. So I imagine we're going to start hearing from Huber. I have a feeling that Rod Rosenstein, I would imagine he has to go before Horowitz makes his statement, or maybe it'll be right around the same time. I'm not sure, but either way, it seems like the clock is up. So it's about time for Rod Rowe to get on out the door. Let's talk about this next post here, 50 minutes past the hour of 12. And this here is a graphic that I think it's right here. There we go. I'll try and blow it up. It's a little bit blurry, but you can see this sort of gives a little bit of a flow chart, which is pretty simple. You've got a reporter, and then you've got all these different special agents management and program analyst, FBI executive, deputy assistant director, deputy assistant director, staff operations specialist, senior special agent. He had these phones that were all connected to everybody. It was this little news train. All these talking points. All these suppositions that can be turned into news talking points being talked about with these reporters feeding the news. And we're seeing that the reporters were wrapped up deep in the FBI, and we knew this all along. We've known this for a long time, many years, since JFK. Now this Anon says these reporters and networks have been named in the WikiLeaks to have colluded with the DNC or Hillary campaign during the 2016 election cycle. And I'm not going to read through them again. You can see them. It's a ton of them. Our mainstream media has been infested with all these people who have colluded with the DNC. The DNC, the Muslim Brotherhood, might as well be the same thing. It's the mafia. And then here, Q says this is from Q, The Bridge, Podesta Group, bridge between media, FBI, DOJ, HRC. So now we know what that bridge was. And that bridge was Podesta. And their group closed. They had some guys that also had some messed up visas. Those were the public charges. But we all know it was more than likely what was going on with the Pizzagate stuff. That's why they closed. When did Huber start? Right then, November. John Podesta, Huma, November. Yeah, John Podesta on the 3rd. I believe Huma was on the 6th, November. When did Huber start? November. Those were when we heard about some of those sealed indictments. Did they know? Yeah, I'll bet. They're probably one of them. They're probably cooperating at this point. Do they know? Yeah, I'm sure they know. Why did the Podesta group close? Well, outwardly they said it was because of these visas, these bum visas for some of the people they were trying to hire. And yeah, we all knew it was Pizzagate. Why no leaks? Because all the leakers have either been fired, removed, some of them have suicided, or they stepped down, or they've recused or whatever. They're gone. Who else knows? The people that are ready to prosecute. And the people that are being prosecuted. Hillary Rodham Clinton deal request, yeah, she made one. Right around that same time. Why? Because she's guilty. And it didn't happen. IG by way of Huber. Can IG disclose evidence in pending criminal cases in public disclosures reports? No, they can't do that. They're going to taint the grand jury. The grand jury, remember, they've got all these people trying to decide if it's worthy of prosecuting. And that's a good thing. And you can't taint them. So it's got to stay silent. And that's why we've got to do all this barking. All this outward narrative stuff, because the inward narrative stuff, we've got people that are trying to decide the fate of these people. Everyone has an opinion. Clickbait, Q. Yeah, everyone's got an opinion. Everyone's ready to tell, say that nothing's happening. And it's every couple weeks whenever we get a kind of this sort of downturn, lots of people want to say nothing's happening and give up. And that's cool. Do what you want to do. There's a lot of clickbait out there as well, too. A lot of people leading you on saying they're buddies with Q, or they got the inside scoop with Q. Doesn't work that way. Next post, Q says, John Podesta, Huma, November. Huber, recent reveal by Sessions, November. Start. Yeah, how about that? What about that for a quinky dink? Hillary Rodham Clinton panic. Yeah, same time. Deal required December. Think Huber. Yeah, they were making deals in December. It didn't happen for Hillary. It happened for a couple other people. It didn't happen for Hillary. Coincidence? I think not. You have more than you know. News unlocks past map. And we all know that it all leads to Hillary. And if Hillary goes down, everybody goes down. So we need to make sure that Hillary goes down. Look at all these names. Folks, this is our mainstream media. These were all people. Now, of course, these people aren't necessarily guilty of high treason, but they all colluded with the DNC. And that is our entire MSM practically. And once people finally get awakened to that, things will change. Let's move on. 1:37 p.m. This Anon says, read last post. Huber started in November. What else was slated to happen in November? Yeah. Oh, there it is. 11:3. Podesta indicted. 11:6. Huma indicted. Exactly. Do they know? I'm sure they do. They're cooperating. IG started long before Huber's setting stage. Important note. Think. IG equals FBI. Yeah, this is all dealing with the mishandlings of the FBI. This is Comey, McCabe, Brennan, all those guys. Huber equals the DOJ. No DC. Yeah, Huber's from Utah. Huber can prosecute. This is the Department of Justice. These are people that committed crimes. This isn't necessarily all the email stuff that he's worried about. He's worried about what was on the laptop. He was worried about a lot of the prosecution stuff. This is the stuff we want to hear about. We want to hear from Huber. Why are we emphasizing this given the world is watching? Because finally the world can see how corrupt not only our institutions are, but some of the crimes that some of these people were committing. Because they're understanding that if we can expose that in our country, one of the most powerful countries in the world, they can do it too. All those people that are in Canada right now feeling frustrated, we know how you felt. Watching from the UK, believe me, we know how you felt. We watch you too. We're watching Tommy Robinson. We're watching it. We're watching it all go down. We're feeling you. We're all in this together. And when the world is watching, that's when we can all be a lot more strategic. We can really, really put our heads together and come together and start getting really loud and really angry. And now we're not going to have to worry about IG reports because there's going to be so many of us, we'll be able to demand whatever we need. Well, they already know, hence CEO, political mass resignations. Yeah, it's piled up. Over the last 2 years, it has absolutely piled up. Adding up, you bet it is. Logical? Only if you know this narrative. Careful of clickbait. To all those new folks, be careful. Be careful. They're out there. They're ready to grab you. Let's move on. 42 minutes after the hour of 1. This Anon says, to all those not getting it, 11-3 when Huber made a sealed indictment. Yeah, for Podesta. 11-6 when Huber made a sealed indictment. Q says, well done. Anon shows commitment. Yeah, when they finally go after Huma and Podesta, we know we're talking about Pizzagate at some point. And that's a big deal. And the people need to know about that. Last post, 47 minutes past the hour of 1. Anon says, Q, thank you for your service to our great country. You have restored true hope in the hearts of many patriots. God is with you all and all of us. Q says, no one person is above another. We are in this together. Where we go one, we go all. Q. And that means you and I, folks. And I thank you for your service to our great country. And you've restored my hope for sure. And I think together, we'll get this all figured out. It's not always easy. It's not always easy to talk about. It's not always easy to listen to. And sometimes you just need to take a break from it too. But good things are happening. And remember too, that if we don't see it going the way we want it, we still have the power to change it ourselves. And I don't think we're at that point yet, but I think that we need to be very wary of it. Those are your Q posts for today. Thank you so much for listening and sticking with me. As always, if you like this video, please click like, share, and subscribe. It really, really helps me out, as you will be unclicked, unchecked, and unsubscribed in the future. Please just keep checking back. I make videos about every 24 to 48 hours. And if Q starts posting again, I will be up on it. And until then, stay optimistic, stay cautious, stay safe, stay sane, stay loving.